TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israel and Egypt sign a bilateral agreement on expanding gas cooperation in the Eastern Mediterranean. NATO agrees to deploy additional forces in Iraq. Iran refuses to talk with the United States unless all sanctions are lifted. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, accompanied by Energy Minister Yuval Steinitz, welcomed Egyptian Petroleum and Mineral Resources Minister Tarek El Molla to Jerusalem on Sunday in a fruitful meeting which culminated in a bilateral agreement that will have Israel's offshore Leviathan natural gas field and Egypt's liquid natural gas terminals link up through an underwater pipeline.
This is an important day, marking our continued cooperation on energy and so many other things. We think there's a new era of peace and prosperity for the region with the Abraham Accords. This began, of course, with the historic peace treaty between Egypt and Israel, but now it is becoming something that can better the lives of all the people in economic terms. And we think that this is a great opportunity for regional cooperation. Egypt, Israel, and the other countries, we are an energy hub. We can supply not only our own needs, but the needs of many other countries. So it's in this spirit of friendship and cooperation and peace and prosperity that I welcome you to Israel. Welcome.
The visit by Minister El Molla, which is a rare occurrence by a senior Egyptian official, comes at a time of deepening relations between Cairo, Jerusalem, Nicosia, and Athens, as part of the lately established Eastern Mediterranean Gas Forum, or EMGF, which also includes Italy, the Palestinian Authority, and the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. The Cairo headquartered organization, which was officially recognized as an international body on January 16, 2020, aims to exploit vast offshore gas reservoirs in the referred to region. And since its establishment and in light of tensions between EMGF members and Turkey, among others, France officially applied to join the forum as a full member, while stakeholders, including the United States, the European Union, and the United Arab Emirates, had joined the EMGF's forum in the capacity of permanent observers. Well, in light of the deepening interests in the Eastern Mediterranean, the United States, along with Greece and Cyprus, held a naval exercise in the Greek island of Crete for much of the month of January, involving special naval operations forces. While the exercise was set to enhance enabling global operations, increase interoperability in a maritime environment, alongside U.S. NATO allies and partners, while in tandem helping increase security and stability in the region, a senior U.S. official told TV7 on condition of anonymity that the exercise also aimed to signal to Turkey, even though unnamed, the Biden administration's unwavering support for Greece and Cyprus. And while Washington stands with Athens and Nicosia in the Eastern Mediterranean, it values Ankara as an ally within the NATO alliance. Therefore, the U.S. Navy also conducted a joint exercise with Turkey in the Black Sea, which the aforementioned official asserted should be regarded as a signal that the United States stands with Turkey vis-à-vis its neighbor to the north in reference to Russia. Nevertheless, in light of this seemingly asymmetrical conduct by the NATO alliance regarding Ankara's apparent interest in the region, Turkey is increasingly voicing its frustration over NATO support for Kurdish militias in both Syria and Iraq, which Ankara insists have direct links to the internationally recognized terror group PKK.
Gerek PKK, PYD, YPG, gerekse FETÖ terörüyle mücadelemizde müttefik bildiğimiz Amerika Birleşik Devletleri'nin sürekli Türkiye karşıtı bir pozisyon almasını diplomatik olarak da son derece yakışıksız bulduğumuzu da belirtmek isterim.
It is important to know that the stated frustrations by Turkey were made ahead of a NATO defense ministers meeting that was held on February 18th, when the top defense officials of the respective member states agreed to expand the alliance's deployment in Iraq.
Today, we decided to expand NATO's training mission in Iraq to support the Iraqi forces as they fight terrorism and ensure that ISIS does not return. The size of our mission will increase from 500 personnel to around 4,000, and training activities will now include more Iraqi security institutions and areas beyond Baghdad.
The referred to increase includes an anticipated deployment of additional U.S. troops to Iraq, a move which signifies the Biden administration's stark contrast to the previous Trump administration, which declaratively sought a U.S. withdrawal from the volatile region. This was further confirmed in an address to the Munich Security Conference, when President Joe Biden highlighted the crucial need to thwart the Islamic State from emerging in conflict-ridden Iraq.
Just this week, NATO defense ministers endorsed significant expanded training and advisory mission in Iraq, which will be vital to the ongoing fight against ISIS. We cannot allow ISIS to reopen and regroup and threaten people in the Middle East and Europe and the United States and elsewhere.
The American leader went on to address Washington's intentions to talk with the Islamic Republic of Iran in the capacity of the so-called P5+1 as part of the need for transparency and communication to minimize the risk of strategic misunderstanding or mistakes.
We need transparency and communication to minimize the risk of strategic misunderstanding or mistakes. That's why the United States and Russia, notwithstanding other competition, extended the New START Treaty for an additional 4 years once I was sworn in. That's why we said we're prepared to re-engage in negotiations with the P5+1 on Iran's nuclear program. We must also address Iran's destabilizing activities across the Middle East. And we're going to work in close cooperation with our European and other partners as we proceed. We'll also work together to lock down fissile and radiological material to prevent terrorist groups from acquiring and using them. Look, the range of challenges Europe and the United States must take on together is broad and complex.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel also addressed Iran in a Q&A with the press at the Munich Security Conference, highlighting the need to seize the opportunity for diplomacy at a time when the Islamic Republic continues to reject Washington's recent reaffirmation of UN Security Council Resolution 2231, coupled with the lifting of some restrictions as a satisfactory prerequisite for talks.
Also ich werde mich zumindest dafür einsetzen, neuen Schwung in die Verhandlungen zu bringen. Ich habe ja mit dem iranischen Präsidenten Herrn Rouhani auch telefoniert vor wenigen Tagen und wir müssen jetzt darauf achten, dass nicht sozusagen eine Problematik entsteht, wer macht den ersten Schritt. Wenn alle davon überzeugt sind, dass man diesem Abkommen wieder eine Chance geben sollte, dann sollten sich auch Wege finden, dieses Abkommen wieder in Gang zu setzen. Und jetzt geht es darum, die Schrittfolge zu vereinbaren. Und das ist wahrscheinlich noch ein diplomatischer Balanceakt oder Kraftakt, je nachdem, wie Sie es wollen.
Despite the fact that the 2015 nuclear agreement was essentially employed in light of substantial international concerns over the Ayatollah regime's aspirations to develop nuclear weapons, the Islamic Republic is at the height of a public relations campaign to picture itself as the victim of Western bullying. And while the Biden administration repeatedly voiced its intention to lift all sanctions against the Islamic Republic, once the latter returns into compliance with the nuclear agreement, the Ayatollah regime obstinately asserts that it would not agree to talk unless sanctions are removed first.
Once everybody implements their part of the obligation, then there will be talks. And those talks will not be about changing the agreement or adding to the agreement, because all of the issues have been discussed. The time frames, they call it sunset, but these are time frames, regional issues, missile issues, all of them have been discussed and addressed. So we're not going to discuss those, but we are going to discuss how we can avoid and guarantee that the actions by the United States will not be repeated.
In a desperate attempt to apply additional pressure on the United States to lift its crippling sanctions, The Ayatollah regime intends to terminate the additional protocol of the nuclear agreement, effectively barring inspectors of the International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, access to its nuclear sites by February the 23rd.
It is clear that they won't get a footage as long as the United States has not come back to full implementation of its agreement, of its obligations.
For fear of expected backlash, however, for effectively barring all international scrutiny to its nuclear sites, the Ayatollah regime formulated a temporary agreement with the IAEA, which aims to grant nuclear inspectors partial access. And while IAEA Director General Rafael Mariano Grossi asserted that while the temporary deal is acceptable for the time being, he confessed that it grants his inspectors far less access than what the 2015 nuclear agreement stipulates.
There is less access, let's face it, there is less access.
Thank you for watching us. As part of TV7's Prayer Initiative, I would like to encourage you today to join myself and the team here in Jerusalem to lift up Egypt in prayer for its salvation and peace, alongside prayers for our persecuted brothers and sisters around the world, in addition to our ongoing prayers, of course, for the peace of Jerusalem, the salvation of Israel, for all those who are impacted by the corona contagion and its numerous ramifications worldwide. I'm Jonathan Hassan, wishing you a Shavua Tov U'Mevorach, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.